jab, uppercut, leave you laid out on the floor. Try to duck and roll, hit and miss, now you counting stars. Should've practiced more, should've hit the mask, get out there more. Man, that you're the best. You gotta show me, son. Actions over words, baby boy. Is you real or what? Talking way too much, world combat sports. Talking way too much, world combat sports. Talking way too much, world combat sports.
What's good, everyone? WCS back on deck with another one. You already know, man, I got some questions. I got some motherfucking questions. You know what I'm saying? And for those you window watchers out there, it's okay. You can come on in. I got questions for you. You know what I'm saying? I don't speak on no subliminals. You know what I'm saying? If I got questions for you, I got questions for you. Real talk. I don't shoot no subliminal shit like they do on Twitter. Man, I could have fought that nigga in November and all this other shit. Let's get to the chat right quick. Shout out to the supporters of the channel, man. Big salute to y'all. Man, we got my guy, Big Blunts and Boxing on deck. What's good? The soldier himself, Town Business Sports and Entertainment, man. Y'all be sure to check him out. Subscribe to his channel. Put out some fire content. And, you know, be discussing stuff behind the scenes, man. You know what I'm saying? Dropping them gems. You feel me? Appreciate you there, Town. Toby, what's good? What's good? Salute WCS in the chat. Blunt said he capping, he signing fighters and shit. Man, we about to light some shit up, man. The grease already been hot for this nigga anyway. Toby said, Big Blunts. Salute, brother. I get what you're saying. Everyone has gone crazy for a little minute. Okay. All right. Okay. D-Lo, salute to you, brother. Pop, what's good? Don on deck. Juice, what's good? Okay, so let's get down to it, right? So let me first start off with everybody else is talking about, even Big Blunts. You know, Blunts and Boxing mentioned this shit before, earlier. All right, so let's go back a little bit, right? Let's start from the beginning. Let's go back to that fateful weekend, September 23rd. Right? Just in Newark. I just want to put this out at the base as the basis, right? We were just in Newark for the Shakur Stevenson, Hobson Consejo, right? And that's where the infamous meeting went down at. This were these clueless individuals are running around here with a motherfucking wig on, a big motherfucking nose, and flappy shoes, and believing that a meeting went down at 7-Eleven, a chance encounter, and that's what led to this particular news is breaking that all of a sudden Cheyenne's trying to say, or trying to insinuate, or trying to pretend like he put this whole deal together with Crawford getting paid $10 million. Hold up. This is all rumor mill. So a chance encounter in September up in Newark on Fight Week, a chance encounter happened between Blue Blood Sports and Terrence Crawford, and which led to this big signing outside of negotiations that was ongoing. All of a sudden, it's coming to the forefront. This chance encounter. What if he had something to do? Come on, let's be smart, y'all. 2022 is about to be over. I don't want to leave this year calling anybody out their name. I'm seriously, I'm not trying to look, I'm not trying to insinuate that we got grown adults who may have occupations and go to work every day and find them incompetent. I'm not trying to find you incompetent. But look, I'm just trying to help you understand some things. You're trying to tell me, right, that in Newark, a chance encounter in 7-Eleven brokered this deal? Hold up now. You are trying to tell me 7-Eleven is brokering a $10 million deal by a YouTuber who is consistent with putting out recycled garbage ass information? Okay, let me moonwalk back a little bit. So let's go to my guy Brian Norman Jr., right? Let me go to my guy Brian Norman Jr. 22-0, 19 knockouts. Y'all remember when he was on? You remember when he stepped on Blues Live and he said he signed his first fighter? And I'm sitting back in that motherfucker. I say, all of a sudden, they reaching down in Atlanta to sign one of Atlanta's fighters who a lot of people know, especially his sparring session with Tank. A lot of people know, but that's supposed to be his first fighter. He had been searching long and motherfucking hard. You know what I'm saying? He had the compass in his hand. He's like, oh shit, shaking motherfucking hands, shaking. He said, what the fuck? Well, just, man, you can't use a compass, man. Just use a GPS, goddammit. You're going to fuck that compass up, man. Just use a GPS. Where in the hell did you find Brian Norman Jr. to say that now, all of a sudden, through all the search, you brought him in front of everybody and said, oh man, this is big. We signed our first fighter. I want you to be the face. I want you to be this, that, and the other. What happened to him? Why y'all do my guy like that, bro? Blue, why did you do that, man? Why do you continue to sit up here and be your one-man circus, nigga? What happened to Brian Norman Jr. being signed to BOK Prime? Because if indeed you had any type of footing, okay? If you had any type of motherfucking footing, you wouldn't have let that shit ride. Because you know what I know? He had fights fall out down here. Why? I was waiting. What happened to the fights he's supposed to have down here in the A? What happened to the fights he's supposed to? You said that you signed your first fighter. Everybody was in your chat, skipping their ass around and shit, playing hopscotch. And you was like, oh man, I found my first fighter. This is huge. This is gonna be huge. We're gonna make this the biggest thing ever. He disappeared. See, that's the shit that's going on, man. You never should have dipped your ass down in Atlanta to pick up a fighter if you wasn't totally committed on making this shit happen. So you couldn't make Brian Norman happen. But all of a sudden, look, you trying to convince us that you brokered a deal? You co-brokered? You were somehow involved with this newly crowned deal? Okay, let me back up again. Let me let y'all hear this motherfucking media right here. This is Steven Espinosa. This came out maybe about 12 days ago. Y'all remember when he was up there talking that shit about Espinosa saying the fight day for November is not totally dead. Listen to this audio. Shout out to fightpipe.com. He just said he don't think that date is quite dead yet. Once again, this is a video that was posted 12 days ago. 12 days ago. Stephen Espinosa, he doesn't believe the date is dead. This is like 12 days ago. If you tally that up to the current day, which is the 21st, right? No, let's go back to the 20th. Let's go back to the 20th. That's when everything started popping off. Let's go back to the 20th. He's saying he didn't think the date was dead yet. So we have some of the dumbest, man. We have these viewers up here now trying to say, okay, I'm just going to ignore the fact that Steven Espinosa said the date is not dead yet for November. And all along, I've been on here telling you all that, hey, it's not going to happen in October. It's not going to happen in November. But yet, Blue gets on here and he says that the fight date, I told y'all the fight date is happening in November. I told you the fight date is happening in November. I told you the fight date was in November. I wasn't lying. I told y'all the fight wasn't happening in November. I didn't have to give no motherfucking date. The fight wasn't happening in November. I kept it the way I kept it. But then I said to myself, I want to see if the math add up. I need to see if the math add up. You know what I'm saying? I need to see if the math, because if this video was posted, you know, this is off fighthype.com. Shout out to them. This was like 12 days ago, right? So if you take when this video was posted, it was well after the encounter at 7-Eleven. So after this fight was this video was posted with Steven Espinosa, Blue did go on record as saying that I told you it was a fight date in November. I told you. He didn't say shit about BOK Prime doing anything with Terrence Crawford. Now, granted, the situation that happened back in Newark, that shit was in September. That shit was around, let's give or take, the 22nd. You know what I'm saying? Around the 22nd, supposedly. The 21st or 22nd, whenever that chance encounter, that infamous encounter happened. So this is damn near a month ago, just short of a month. And coming full steam forward, this video Espinosa drops, and he said the fight date isn't totally dead yet. So if he's saying the fight date isn't dead yet, who's negotiating for motherfucking November? Nothing else came out, even though my people was telling me that the fight isn't going to happen this year. And if anyone fights this year, it may potentially be Errol Spence. We don't know. If Errol Spence fight this year, he's not going to be fighting Crawford. That's always stood and true, right? But this is what I'm trying to help myself get clarity and my listeners get clarity on. If this video Espinosa was released and you're saying you had a chance encounter, and them goofballs in your chat is up here acting like you somehow brokered or co-brokered a deal for $10 million. 10 motherfucking million now. $10 motherfucking million. $10 motherfucking million from your living room. You brokered this shit from outside of 7-Eleven, inside of 7-Eleven, on the curve in Newark, or whatever the case may be. You help broker a deal with a fighter that you don't support. You always talking about what you never said. It's on record. You were saying Errol Spence gonna beat him and all this shit. You're trying to explain to the people and tell the people, since the 7-Eleven encounter that happened in September to now, you was on record as saying, hey, I told you all that it was a fight date in November. I told you this, that, and the other. So when did you learn about this particular fight? If you have any participation in, when did you learn about Crawford fighting Avanesian? When did you learn about this shit? Because they're trying to act like this shit was up at 7-Eleven. So if that is indeed the case, that this has some type of activity at 7-Eleven, and somehow the talks began since then, a month ago, then why were you online speaking about a fight date that Espinosa is saying it wasn't totally dead yet? Even though you did say you don't think the fight's going to happen. You did say it, but you were speaking on it just because you said, I told you it was going to be a fight date. I told you it was going to be a fight. It was a fight date in November. But I said the fight wasn't happening. I said the fight wasn't happening. When you was up here telling people that the fight was going to go down, and it's a good possibility that the fight was going to go down because the fight date was in November, I got people freaking sending me texts to my, November. All y'all pushing that November narrative. When did this shit right here with Crawford that you trying to put out to the people that's going to supposedly be on BOK Prime, right? When did you make that happen? Because you were just not too long ago talking about the November date. You didn't mention anything about anything. You say you break the first news. You talk about you break all this motherfucking news and shit. But it seems like you only speak about it when it's already out. You did not break this news. You didn't break this news. And we're trying to find out what the validity is to the news. If Espinosa came out and said the November date is still on, who was he talking about? Who was going to fight on that day? If he says the fight day isn't totally dead yet, at that point in time, 12 days ago, why didn't you get on here and say, well, I know exactly what he's talking about. I'm going to let y'all know what he's talking about a little bit later. But he said the fight isn't totally dead. That's wrong. I don't think the fight's going to happen. But I can tell you this. I have a clear understanding of who may indeed fight. Somebody that we was expecting to fight in November, they're going to still fight this year. And I'm going to give you the information later. You couldn't tell us you was going to give us the information later because you didn't motherfucking know. You didn't know about the information. And let me ask you this. If you have a broker in a $10 million deal, shit, that's going to move you out the crib. If that is your co-business owner, you know what I'm saying? You are business partners. You have to have some type of percentage out of a $10 million deal now. You have changed levels in the game. You are a shot caller, a shaker, a mover, goddammit. If you are brokering a Terrence Crawford $10 million deal outside of something PBC couldn't do, then you might as well be packing up your bags, calling in the moving trucks, and getting the hell up out of there and going to a different neighborhood because you paid. You paid. No more sitting in front of trash cans, goddammit. You are motherfucking paid, dog. Real talk. You paid. You paid. I want to know why the dates. Why, if Espinosa put this information about the date is not potentially dead, why didn't you come out on top of saying that you don't think the fight's going to happen? Why you didn't tell us, well, I know a good reason the fight's not happening. Because I got something else in the works. I got something else in the works. All right, I got something else in the works. How, if you're going to try to convince your people that as a talent, as Blunt's put it, I was told you're a talent agent, okay? But he said a talent acquisition. If you are a talent agent and you was able to make or have any type of influence on this deal, what was your percentage of influence? How much are you getting out the deal? Because I'm going to tell you something. If this fight happens, and you can't show no proof that you had participation in making this fight happen, y'all, then we're going to be right back on it. We're going to be right back talking about what the fuck is this. It seems like your viewers are just looking and salivating for new information. It seems like they're a bunch of school kids, and man, you can bring in some stale cinnamon buns just because the glaze look all nice and fresh. They say cool, but they bite into it, that shit's stale as hell. What happened to my boy Brian Norman Jr.? If you saying he was going to be the face, why couldn't you make the fight happen? And you can't make Brian Norman fight happen. If you can't make him, he's supposed to be the face of BOK Prime. Now all of a sudden you are the co-opt. You got your people believing that you had something to do with a $10 million. Prove it. Prove that. Prove it to me. I'm just curious. Prove that you have it in you. Prove it. If you had something to do with it, get Terrence Crawford on your show. Because goddamn it, this is historic. This is historic. If you can get this shit, I mean, if you can have Terrence Crawford on your show, you're a business partner, right? I'm pretty sure you can speak to BLK and y'all can arrange some shit. You know what I'm saying? Get him on your show. You get him on your show, I'll shut the fuck up and apologize. Get him on your show, man. Let him tell his side of the story. Because what I'm gathering, is information like, let me I'm hearing shit like Crawford said, I agreed to all their BS and they've been dragging their ass for months. Spence was nowhere to be found while I was trying to make the deal. Crawford continued, I explained to Al Heyman and Errol that I was going to fight before the end of the year. David Avanesian is a very tough task. He knocked out his last 6 opponents, and God's dangerous. Once I'm successful against Avanesian, my plan is to still the same, whoop Errol Spence ass. Now, listen to this now. He said he agreed to all their BS. What was the revisions about? What was the revisions about? What was the revisions about? I know he wasn't talking about the flavor of a slushie in front of a 7-Eleven in Newark. What was the revisions about? If he said he agreed to all their bullshit, why did a boxing scene release an article and say, "Oh, we're concerned that Team Crawford isn't totally committed because we sent him revisions and their side been quiet," right? Their side's been quiet. And then you get this right here, people. You get this shit come out. Now, if this shit would have came out 2 weeks ago, cool. If this shit would have came out 2 weeks ago, fine. But in the process of these negotiations being ongoing, why didn't we hear any information about Crawford's deal being brokered? You know, since we have somebody else, supposedly a smaller entity that's able to infiltrate a titan. We have the so-called PBC side of the house that everybody was dreaming about. Hey, you Spencer Hollis, y'all failed all the way through and through. Y'all failed, bro. Because PBC couldn't get this fight done, and they sit up here and dumb this down and peel back every freaking layer all the way down to the bare butt. They left nothing to chance, man. They didn't want to give this man shit. They wanted to sit him in there butt naked. I want you to help me explain how a little small entity like David was using slingshots to take down Goliath and brokering a $10 million deal allegedly that a Titan couldn't get this man to come on deck or entice him to come on deck for anything. I mean, regardless of everything he agreed to, the Goliath couldn't make it happen. So David sitting up here with paintball pellets, you know, with a slingshot, letting that shit go, and all of a sudden news breaks that Crawford is fighting David. Okay, cool. But my question is, give us proof as to what you're talking about. Because somehow I don't want your viewers to believe that what you're saying has validity until you prove it. We talk about YouTube media not having influence on fights. You have an opportunity to change all of that. You have an opportunity to change all that shit. Prove it. Prove that you had something to do with it. We're not talking about talent acquisition, because how the fuck you going out there and getting a talent like motherfucking Bud Crawford? He ain't no run-of-the-mill type dude. He's already won championships. So you ain't no talent acquisition and say, you know what, 7-Eleven, I appreciate y'all. You gave me the opportunity to run into Bud Crawford, and just so happened, I didn't hear that same shit, man. Like your conversation when you ran into Bud didn't have nothing about trying to get him signed into, fight, because negotiations, from what we understood, was still ongoing. This shit was still going. So to keep it hush hush, no pictures, this is historic. I hope you got some shit on the archives. I hope you got some shit hitting. I hope you got some pictures that you didn't post. I hope you was just waiting for the damn information to pop off and everything, because your language did not indicate that y'all had somewhat like a business meeting of this magnitude outside 7-Eleven in Newark. Why did he come out with this information right here? Been fighting it this way for over a decade. This shit ain't easy or fun. That don't sound like a person that's committed to step in the ring this year. That doesn't seem like a person who's trying to once again motivate the fans to tune in to see him and Crawford fight. That seems less motivating for when we heard him post-fight when he say, Terrence Crawford, I'm coming for that motherfucking belt. This tweet right here doesn't give me that type of, warm and fuzzy. The hair doesn't raise up. I don't get motivated. And then they say, a nigga been stalling for months. I could have fought in November. Who is the nigga though? Nigga, you can't speak straight English. Who the fuck are you talking about, bro? Who are you talking about? Who? You talking about Keith Thurman? Nigga been stalling for months. I could have fought in November. Who you talking about? Al? Was Al stalling? Was Al stalling you out, bro? Be specific. Stop speaking around in circles, man. Stop speaking gibberish. Stop speaking indirectly, incompletely, and deceiving us. Who was stalling? Al? Was he stalling? Was Keith Thurman stalling? Was Bud Crawford stalling? Be clear on who the fuck was stalling, man. Who goes under the tag nigga and we supposed to goddamn put a name to that shit? I don't get it. They doing, like I said, nothing to talk about. WCS, what's good? SB90 on deck. I'm Bud all day, but if he ain't fighting Spence, he should get in there with Virgil and Spence fight Boots. I mean, that's easier said when you're talking about mandatories, but dude, you got to talk to Boots and them as to why he's not getting next up with whoever Spence is fighting. And look, why can't they make Virgil Ortiz and Bud? Are they trying to get the fight? Or Team Ortiz trying to get the fight? He's not even in conversation right now. You know what I'm saying? Man, we ain't talking about who lost to who. When we ain't talking about who lost to who, man, educate yourself, coach. You come on here talking about if Bud was ready for fence, why is he in a tune-up against a guy who lost? We're not going to talk about who lost to who now. We're not going to talk about who lost to who. Because Kell Brook was coming off a loss to Gennady Golovkin from being battered and bruised. And he did that shit on the 9-month, out the sport, recovery, surgery, recovery, and then had to get cleared to go back in there and spar. We're not going to do that. The same shit that happened to Errol Spence when he fell out in the Manny Pacquiao fight because he lost his eyeball. Yeah, we're not talking about losses when it comes to Errol Spence's resume. We're not talking about it because you look at Bud Crawford's resume. He has more O's on his resume than Spence does. I'll tell you that much. So let's not talk about losses, bro. Let's not talk about opponents with losses. Sean Porter came in there with a loss already. Danny Garcia had a loss already. Those are your grand names, right? The only one that he can goddamn brag about is Mikey Garcia, lightweight. A motherfucking lightweight. Ooh-wee, la-da-da. Not even a still phone photo to prove. That's all I'm saying, Toby. Just give me a still frame. Just give me one still frame. You come out with that shit and nope, we're not talking about going somewhere, meeting halfway, and talking about, hey, can you just recreate the scene? Let's go back up to Newark. And what we're going to do is we're going to see, can you call up Shakur Stevenson, because y'all real good friends there, bud, and have him walking by the 7-Eleven. I'm going to be coming out and you're going to be walking in. And we're going to get somebody from an undisclosed location up in a window to take a picture. That's what we're going to do. That'll prove it to him, because then he can get on here and say, you know what? If you look closely, you see Shakur Stevenson, who had a fight that week. He had a championship fight that week. He's walking down the street too. There's a lot of boxers walk down in this area. I was never lying. And you see that guy with his back turned? That's Hartford. That's the guy who I'm talking about. We brokering this deal with. That's it. $10 million. Now listen, smart people. Listen. If y'all know damn well, if I have anything to do with a $10 million deal, bringing a fighter, it don't matter. What you think I should get out that deal? What do you think I should get? As a talent acquisition, as a talent agent, what should I get out the deal, y'all? I should get paid too. We're talking about $10 million. You remember when Errol Spence say, let's bet 100,000, and Bud say, let's bet $1 million. So if you got 10 million, what do you think he should get paid? Because he's trying to convince people that he has something to do with this motherfucking deal. Prove it. If you can't prove that motherfucker, it's fake news. Just like I put out this thumbnail way back when. Fake news. Fake news. These motherfuckers ain't fighting in October. They weren't fighting in November. Espinosa come out a mere 12 days ago. But look, you were still talking about trying to convince your listeners that you was right about the fight date. What fight date? Because from your standpoint, that you knew about this, Bud Crawford was going to fight in December, and he wasn't going to fight Errol Spence. So who were you talking about that was fighting in November? Was it freaking Errol Spence and Bud Crawford? Because that's kind of odd. If you knew about this $10 million deal, supposedly, and all of a sudden, we finding out that Bud's going to fight in December, though. So who was going to fight in November? If you was up there trying to prove to the people that you knew about the damn date already. You knew about the date. If you knew about the date and you say the fight wasn't happening, I never heard you mention, oh, well, something's really taking place in December. We got a fight that's popping up you're going to be interested in. Believe me when I tell you. We got some big news. You know how the boxer said, we got some big news. What was going on with that shit? We didn't hear that, bro. We didn't hear. I would have rather you said, hey, we got some big news going in December, man. Some big news. I can't let it out right now. We got some big news. I never heard that shit. But all of a sudden, news break that the Goliath and PBC could make the fight happen. But David can make it happen. David can come in here and make this shit happen, right? And we're not talking about no small cash. We're talking about 10 million, supposedly. Okay. All right, I got you. I believe you. Exactly. All Blue does is cap. Gonna jump on his live with his shades on so you can't see the lies in his eyes. He a clown. OG said 2 weeks ago it wasn't happening. Man, see, they worried about the, who's in the live. I never said these fights was happening October, November. Never. I said, show me if it was going to happen. Show me. But them other channels, they was up here leaning heavy. Perfect point. I seen Ricky Williams jump on BFTV panel and tell me, hey, these motherfuckers connected, right? Hey, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. November, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. And look, I keep it down the middle. At that time, BF, he didn't jump on the back. He didn't say, well, you're right. He said, I believe it when I see it. Or something to that effect. But Ricky Williams, who don't know shit about boxing, he was at the time, dog, it's going to happen. I can show you a receipt right now. Look, I can show you a receipt right now where people will say, hey, man, November. Go ahead. I said, man, please. No, it ain't happening. Where's it going to be at? When the announcement? Oh, they supposed to make the announcement September 4th. September 4th came and went. No announcement as always. So when were you, Blue, going to come out and say, to be real about it, y'all should just stop thinking about this date. Whatever Steven Espinosa is talking about, don't believe any of that. He didn't want to call Espinosa a lie, but I heard other people did, for real. He didn't want to say that shit's a lie. Because if you had any indication that this supposed deal between Terrence Crawford that supposedly happened in Newark, the initial talks happened on the street in front of 7-Eleven, and you're going to broker something this big with that amount of money to basically remove Crawford from negotiation with PBC to basically get paid. and his PPVs are like 30 something plus dollars. That'd be historic. But in order for it to be historic here on YouTube, we need proof. We need the proof that shit happened. So therefore, I need for you to have Crawford on deck. You know what I'm saying? If y'all got that much pull, if that's your business partner, if you're the grand poobah, you know what I'm saying? If you had a role play in this shit, have him on your show. Have him on your show, because that's professional business right there. Once you cross that line and someone have faith on you getting them paid $10 million and you say you're a business partner with BOK Prime, I want to see it. We want to see it, bro. We want to see you come on here and prove to us that it is a business rapport between you and Terrence Crawford. You make that shit happen, I will shut up forever on this topic. You don't have long. It's already October 21st now. Supposedly Crawford fighting in December. You don't have long, man. You don't have long, bro. W says did 2 more live streams saying Bud wasn't going to fight Spence next, and was willing to take all bets. I was willing to take all bets, man. I don't, they're not going to give me any credit because they spend all their time trying to debunk it and lie. You know what I'm saying? And act like I'm hating. But nigga, stop putting out fake news, man. If I would have had some news like this, right? I promise you I would have had a picture from that date. I would have said, it's no other way. Okay, we about to do this shit big. You trying to tell me that I'm a part of history? So therefore, you don't want me to have no freaking recollection. No, we're going to take a picture. Not going to break the news until all the shit has happened, completed behind the scenes. Then when it's completed, I'm going to break out the picture. Check this out. I'm doing a live on something that went down behind the scenes while y'all was up here believing that these negotiations was happening between Crawford and PBC. I was actually in communication, me and my business partner, to bring Crawford onto BOK Prime to fight an alternate fighter, because pretty much he had agreed to everything. All right, he had agreed to everything, and they just wasn't giving him any leeway. You know what I'm saying? He didn't go in there with a huge amount of leverage, so it was only so much he can do. So to be honest with you, it didn't happen. That's all we can say. Okay, that would have been it, but that's not the case, y'all. That's not the case. And then Blue gets on here talking about he's not a fan of the fighter. Yeah, you are. Because a lot of people in your chat are now calling you out on, oh man, you acting different since your encounter with Crawford. You acting different. You are a fan of the fighter. When you call AB several times, AB, you a fan of the motherfucking fighter. Because you had the energy to ask that man more than once when he ignored you to get a picture. Y'all need to stop saying you ain't a fighter. I'm a fan of the motherfucking fighter, bro. You ain't a fan of the sport and not a fan of the fighter. You a fan of the fighter. Don't forget that Blue's the same clown that was pushing and repping Farmer versus Mickey Bay. Man, bro. Look, I can't even bring that conversation into it because that doesn't have anything to do with the $10 million deal. But since you brought it up, I can underscore a fact. All right. So you go from doing media for a promotion that couldn't pay their fighters, you know what I'm saying, but $100. You on camera saying that he should have took the motherfucking 100 and fought. Now peep this out, because they think I just be hating. They think I don't know shit about this, right? You're trying to tell me that you was on camera trying to convince and tell the people, the viewers, that Ty Edmonds should have took $100 because Devin Haney was willing to pay him. And that man would have voided out any contractual security, people, that promotion would have had for him. If he would have stepped through the ropes, making an alternate, a second agreement with Devin Haney, which would have voided out what the co-promoter who didn't have the money to begin with, that would have voided out his medical security. If he would have stepped in there with Truck Simpson and was hurt, let's just say he was hurt real bad. If it was no paperwork, no documentation, Team Haney wouldn't have been responsible for that shit. But you know the business? You can't do it this way, Blue. You can't come up here acting like you know every motherfucking thing. We don't know everything. But what I'm trying to explain to you is certain areas when you're covering fighters, especially with the Mickey Bay and Farmer situation, you're not going up there pushing $100, not understanding that they're locked in with a promoter. That promoter has insurance on the fighters. Shawty, how are you going to sit up here? Oh, he didn't want the bread. Devin was going to pay the money. He didn't want the bread. So it was all about the bread, but all of a sudden, you're trying to convince us that you're brokering a $10 million and you didn't have the knowledge to understand the severity of Ty Edmonds making a damn side deal with Devin Haney for $100 just to step in there with his fighter? Which would have voided out the contractual agreement that he had with the co-promoter who failed to produce the funds on that fight day. Okay, go ahead. All right, cool. All right. That's all I can give you, that chaos. You know what I'm saying? That's all I can give you on that shit. For real. They don't get it, man. Like, come on, bro. Man, come on, bro. You come in here dropping this fake news, man, and you up here talking about somebody hating. I don't care, you or whoever attached to you. They can say what the fuck they want. If I was the person doing this shit and had all them views, because we got to always talk about views, then it would be a problem. He don't know what he's talking about. I don't know how he got so many people over there. No, I got the amount of people that I'm supposed to have over here, bro. I have enough ears over here for when I speak about a situation like this, it's going to make sense one way or the other. It's just a lot of us are not clear on how long you knew about this. Because September is where the infamous meeting was supposed to happen. If Espinosa came out a mere, couple weeks ago, 12 days or whatever, how in the hell you didn't even let your listeners know, hey, don't believe what he's talking about. I got something else in the works. Don't. Let's bring up the motherfucking screen record. Bring up the receipt. Show us where you said, I got something else in the works. I have something else in the works. This is what I spoke. You made it seem like Crawford came up to you and said, hey, man, I heard what you've been saying about me. I don't like it. Okay, buddy. I understand you have a job to do. And you've been at this for quite some time. But you got to have some structure. You know what I'm saying? You got to have some structure. Integrity. Principles. That's all I want you to have. You know what I'm saying? Speak the truth, dude. Come on, man. That's the same interview where he said about there's only a plan A and no plan C or D. Yeah. Come on, man. How long was this so-called negotiation happening? The fans want to know, how long was this shit happening? Man, look, man, you look, them cats in your chat, not all of them. But you got some dumbass goddamn viewers, bro. You got some viewers that can't even damn think for themselves. Monica, you one of them. Monica called herself, trying to be the gopher. She don't know shit about boxing. But he keep on, she'll go in there like she's needy. Oh, please, I'm here for you if you need anything. You don't know shit about motherfucking boxing. He sent your ass over to my chat so you can kind of sit up here and think you're going to be the ultimate in-between, go-to, middle woman to deceive me on some shit. Why you didn't speak on it? Both of y'all motherfucking clueless, y'all. Shout out to Shot News and Sauce Experience, aka Showtime Shot. What's good with it? Salute to the chat in WCS. I seen Bud at 7-Eleven too. He told me about the deal as well. I know, man. I didn't want to tell nobody. I didn't want to tell nobody. But real talk, y'all. Tell me why this is not the case. How and why did we not know about this situation? Now check out some audio from Blue. Check this out now. Did you just hear? Now, I do this a little bit. Did you just hear what he said? Did you just hear what Blue said? Let me go back just a little bit. Look, I'm giving you some gems. Figure this shit out. Figure this shit out, y'all. Listen to what he's saying. Figure this shit out before I explain to you why I'm putting this audio up. He just said, why would Crawford take something you all wouldn't take, right? He said he know why the business of the sport of boxing is ran the way it is. If that is in case, if you knowing, I'm just going off the top here in relation to what was asked, right? What Chaos mentioned, right? Because he's an agent. Chaos mentioned something that I'm just going off the top to give y'all a better understanding off the audio clip you just heard, because he's trying to say he knows the business of boxing, but yet he was attempting to get a fighter to take $100. Hold on for a second. He said he understands why the business of the sport of boxing is ran the way it is. But yet he was trying to convince a fighter on a lower tier, because he's a fan of the sport. But I guess in this particular case, when it came down to business, he was just there to let the camera roll and try to convince a man who has his parents right in the proximity to take $100 outside of a contractual agreement he has with a promoter. Make it make sense to me. If you know about the business aspect of boxing, why would you place a fighter? Why would you give that message to the fans as if to encourage or basically discredit a fighter for taking $100 from Devin, which is nothing to him? It's a nickel. Why wouldn't you explain them the proper business etiquette instead of trying to talk down on him for not taking $100, which would have voided his medical security, because these promoters have to get insurance on these fighters to throw a fight card. Where is the conversation with that? You didn't explain that to the fans, but yet you're brokering a $10 million deal. You're co-opt on that. I got it. Let's keep on listening to some audio, bro. Can y'all hear the audio? He said, y'all want to be a fan of the sport of boxing when it fits your narrative. That seems like you, because you always try to get people to fit your narrative. If people disagree with your narrative, you block them. You block them. If it don't fit your narrative, you block them. So you might be talking about yourself. I just be watching the circus show he putting on. When he started lining capping, that's when I get irritated. Hey, man, people have to understand, man. They have to think for themselves. If you're a certain age in life, don't let YouTube take you back to the immaturity. Don't let YouTube take you back to the embryonic stages of when you was trying to get past the critical period of learning. You know, the cognitive process of learning right from wrong. Don't let YouTube take you back in time. Come on, man. Errol sounded like he was doing damage control. He knew about Bud fighting David before we did. That's why he made them tweets. Hey, I pretty much believe he knew that they wasn't gonna make anything happen with the offer. You know what I'm saying? They wanted to send that man in. How can an organization that had $100 million deal, $100 million deal, well, they was willing to sacrifice both of their fighters, two of their top tier fighter, the names on there, two champions, Marcelo, Errol Spence. How all of a sudden you was gonna sacrifice them? What brings us to this point with Bud Crawford that it was impossible to make this fight, but yet you was trying to get a deal made for Marcelo and Errol Spence. Errol Spence is now complaining about fighting at this weight forever, but knowing damn well he would have moved up 3 weight classes, he would have got slaughtered. He would have got annihilated. Do you have to tell the staff of the 7-Eleven to keep quiet about seeing the WBO champ having a meeting in the store? I don't know, man. That's information I'm trying to retrieve. Like, you know, me and Showtime, we put together a team of bloodhounds, man, to try to figure this out. You know what I'm saying? We got some bloodhounds that's trying to sniff and see can they pick up the scent, because it's been some days, right? And we have some people on site doing some investigative work. We're really trying to check 7-Eleven audio, video, and see what they have. Because you know 7-Eleven got some video out there now. We're trying to check the video. We're trying to get video. Back in that day, we're trying to retrieve video and see when these people, these so-called alleged meeting took place at 7-Eleven. People pointing the picture that Bud was holding up everything since he was in negotiations the entire time and signed another deal. They saying EJ honored negotiations by waiting on Bud. Listen, bro. Listen. They're going to say what they want to say. But it's funny how they didn't know any of this information. If Blue was the one that's dropping, and that's the lifeline that they choose to swim around in, right? If they just would have gave her the opportunity, just sat back and just really processed that shit, they would have asked more questions. Why any of this information came up earlier? How are you going to say that Bud Crawford was holding up the negotiation process and Blue's trying to pretend like he knew about this already? But he never gave any indication to his listeners that would be part of one of the biggest, I'm talking about one of the biggest negotiation process that the YTC would ever be involved in. And his name would be all over it. Why didn't he dissuade the listeners and say, don't worry about anything you hearing about this fight. It's not happening. It's not going down. None of that shit. Don't worry about that November date, because I'm telling you, I'll tell you later, but I'm telling you, it's not happening, period. I'm not talking about when he was up here explaining the Espinosa shit. He said, I don't think the fight's going to happen. No. Language is everything. You should have said, I know for absolute fact the fight ain't happening in November. Why is that? Somebody would say, why is that? You said you know for a fact. That would have drew people in. You know for a fact? Yeah, I know for a fact. I'm going to leave it like that. I'll come back to you in a little bit. All right? Just give me a couple weeks to this shit break. And then I'll say, go back to my live when I said, I know for a fact. No, he said, I don't think the fight is going to happen. I don't think the fight is going to happen in November. I don't think. EJ knew the story was going to break. Errol used the weight as a built-in excuse to move up all of a sudden. He better move up with that WBO. You know what I'm saying? He better move up to go for that WBO title. Don't move up without it now, without a fight. Don't all of a sudden put weight into it. Because we got to go back. Hey, Showtime, we got to go back to Mr. DJ. What did I tell you all? Check the receipts. I said that they had Errol Spence Jr. on one of the toughest nutrition regimes to lose weight and come in there for Udenis Ugas. Even though that shit looked good on the outside, that wasn't easy. I say that's the best shape we're going to see him in, because you saw he was already skinny with over a month out before the fight. So they got all this nutrition. They probably paid a hellacious amount of money. Where are they at right now? Where are they at right now? Because there's no way that Errol Spence is coming out with a tweet talking about his weight and how long he's been competing at welterweight, when you got a nutritionist that had you out here looking like Skeletor before your fight with Denis Ugas in April. So let's not talk about that unless you don't have the discipline to lose the motherfucking weight no more. You know what I'm saying? If you don't have the discipline, because I know that shit was tough. Spence has been ducking for years. PBC showed they are fake. Ugas also had 4 losses. Yes, sir. We can't sit up here and talk about losses. We can't talk about no losses. We can't talk about who David Avanesian fought. Oh, what we can talk about is that Bud Crawford has more undefeated fighters on his resume than Spence. His common opponents may be that of Errol Spence, but let's extract the rounds for which he was able to accomplish the mission, vice how long it took Errol to get the victory. You know what I'm saying? He damn near went the distance with Kell Brook, coming off a battering of Triple G 2 weight classes. Let's not forget. Sean Porter came in there and he won by a split decision, and that was strictly from a knockdown in the 11th round. Let's not forget. Sean Porter had losses. He got his belt taken from Kell Brook, who ultimately gave that same belt to goddamn Errol Spence. Wish he fought someone better than Avanesian, but it is what it is. Anybody found out what happened to my guy Brian Norman Jr.? I'm still waiting on some damn answers to come up. What happened to my guy Brian Norman Jr.? He's down here in the A. They search. Look, Blue searched long and hard. Oh my God. I went through countless of fighters to pick you, Brian. And then to let that young man down. Let him down. Why couldn't he get the fight made, dog? You said you had him. He was the face. It was all brought up on social media. You signed your first fighter, this, and this. Where is the fight? Where's the fight, shawty? Y'all put his face up there, him and his pops, hardworking men in life. You put their face up there. What happened to the fights? Jamal Needs, what's good? What up, WCS? Good morning. Salute to you, bro. He didn't even invite Bud up to the hotel room. Kept him in the 7-Eleven. Hey, Bud wasn't trying to go nowhere with that dude. He didn't want to goddamn continue. Look, he didn't want to be in step with somebody he didn't trust. He didn't want to be in step with anybody because, like, when you change locations, then you may have a different type of traffic. You know, it was an area where it was pedestrians going back and forth. Within those pedestrians, you might have someone with a camera. In this particular case, it was fight week. We didn't have no other person there that was rolling, that was hot. We didn't have nobody else getting footage. Because if they would have walked, especially into a hotel, someone would have started recording. Now, do we think Bud, I can't speak for him, but do you think that's what he would have liked? Because he can't stop everybody from recording. Now, he can stop Blue from recording. Just one picture, bro. Just one of the infamous 7-Eleven heist where you all ran into each other to discuss a $10 million deal. We need to know over here. Today, Friday, we need to know. Yes, we do. Da da da, do do do, ya da da. We need to know. So can somebody please help us understand? Is there one picture? Do I have to put a cash reward out for the retrieval of the video on 7-Eleven on that day? The fight was on the 23rd, right? So let's say the 21st. Okay, let's say the 21st. Was it the 21st or the 22nd? Let's just say the 22nd. I think it was the 22nd. But that'll be difficult. That might be the 22nd. Whatever. We need video of that infamous moment. Because I know 7-Eleven have video, especially in Newark. They have video equipment, man. If Blue comes out and say he was working with Bud to make a deal, then what does that say to all his aerosexual fans? He's on record switching up on Bud. But now he's making deals with him. Hey, man, it's hard, to sit up here and think that human beings, will fall for this shit over and over again. Like I say, the first time, right? The first time you get taken advantage of, and you know it, and you choose to go back, it's a freaking. You say, okay, I stood around too long. That was a mistake. I hung around too long. That was a mistake. But the second, third, fourth, and 1500 time that you do it, those are choices that you choose to make to be in the company of that person. You chose to be in the company of that person, knowing they are the way they are. You chose to be in the company. So if you're in the company of this individual that's lying to you, and they can't substantiate some news on the level of this is huge. Can Blue be the person to pull this off? Brokering or co-brokering from a small BLK Prime streaming service or whatever the case may be. Does he have it in him to be able to bring Terrence Crawford on his show to settle the score? Because if you're talking about money like that, you can at least bring the person on and say, hey, I just want to say hi, champ. How you doing? Hey, thanks for accepting my offer to come on to the show. My listeners is going crazy right now. They never thought this happened. You know why? Because really the only person that's in the YTC community that's been able to get you, on the panel. I mean, not on the panel per se to say any words, but just to get you on a live stream was Shaw News. I mean, like Bud, he's not the type of dude to get on the panel like. But if Blue, you could pull it off for him to talk about this infamous deal. That's a game changer right there, Shawty. That is a motherfucking game changer, man. But right now, the only one I know is Shaw News, Showtime. Now, you know what I'm saying? Just like Lomachenko tried to come in here and do it quicker. Now, what you want to do is try to have him on for an interview. You know what I'm saying? Like Lomachenko tried to come in here in his second pro fight. You know what I'm saying? He was 1-0. He tried to step up to the plate and become a champion. Hey, you have that opportunity to make history too, man. Have Bud Crawford on your channel. And then if you really want to advance and change levels on your listeners, get Letitia on there too. Because she put her tweets out. You definitely want to hear what she got to say. Bring his sister on here too, man. Oh, you know what? We saw Blue talking that Brian Norman shit, and it didn't go through when he said it would. Then he repped Mickey Bay joint. Didn't happen. Backstage with Truck Simpson also. Hey, that's all I'm saying, man. It's not hate. It's not hate. It's just reminders. That's all it is. It's not hate. It's reminders. It is reminders. You saying, look, you ask yourself, so W says, why do you have to remind us of what's going on? Because look, I have to constantly remind because this dude has a crazy enlarged, inflamed ego. If this dude never would have goddamn breached the respect level of my guest, who look, he said I was sensitive about. But see, when somebody say sensitive and they don't acknowledge that they are violating the fine line of respect, and he called the guy, look, he called the OG a lie just because he misspoke on Deontay Wilder deal. He was about to break it down back to the 120 million or whatever 3-fight deal and try to explain how that process would have worked money-wise. But he didn't get a chance. Why? Because Ben Israel, dumbass, was up here talking. And then Blue was in the chat and said, that's a lie. He don't even support me like that. But he was over here that day because I had somebody in here that he felt that, oh, let me listen to one of his sources, okay, and he called him a lie. He didn't say, well, let me be patient and wait for this guy to correct himself. But then again, after that, you already seen what happened. Y'all already seen what happened. And it will continue to be that way because his ego, above all else, that's what drives him. Ismail came over here and disrespected me in my chat, so I said, all right, cool. I'm going to hold you to what your words are here. You don't have no respect for people. You want people to goddamn be inferior to who you are. You know, reporting media, talk your shit, but talk it correctly, bro. Don't sit up here and act like, you know, shit is going on and you the man. Bring proof. Bring proof, man. $10 million, can you get Crawford on here? Can you let us know that Crawford's coming on here? Can you let us know that it's possible for you to get Terrence Bud Crawford? Pound for pound, numero uno, right? Can you get him on your show? If you are so-called co-brokering or your business partner is in charge of a deal this big, of this magnitude. PBC couldn't give him $10 million, but you're a part of it. Get him on your show, man. Get him on your show. And you're absolutely right, Bunsen Boxing. All that shit with Brian Norman, Mickey Bay, all that shit took place. And the fucked up part about it was you're telling people that you know about the sport of boxing, the business part of it, but yet you was trying to encourage and you was trying to explain to the fight fans as to why Ty Edmonds should have took $100 from Devin Haney and fought. Not explaining to the people the intricacies that could have harmed that guy if he would have been knocked out cold or suffered injuries like Pritchard Colon, the same fighter that brought Deontay Wilder to tears, saying the man will never know what it's like to be a father. You up here trying to encourage a fighter to damn broker a side deal that's void his freaking contract with the promoter. If he would have ended up like Pritchard Colon, his family would have had to come out the pocket for that shit. That ain't smart. Didn't happen that fights ago, trying to attach himself to that. Didn't pan out. Suddenly he got something to do with Bud Crawford. Man, he's trying, man. I'm going to tell you, man, the heat was real. Look, the Bud Crawford challenge was on his ass, man. Like, we was talking all shit. It didn't have really anything to do with him. We was just supporting the fighter. He started to feel some type of way. It was too much momentum over here. He said, oh, let me switch back over. That's when Blunts, came out with the video. And look, he probably had an epiphany, y'all. He said, oh, God damn it. Oh, shit. I missed that. Who the fuck is Big Blunts and whatever the fuck he is? Why he had to do that, man? Oh, I missed that. I remember the day that I said that about Bud. I do. He's my absolute favorite. God damn. He's a dog. He's a dog. Yes, he is. He's a dog. Look, the Bud Crawford fans, we've been saying he's a dog. We already know that. But I had to put the question out there, like I'm doing now. Show us evidence. You know what I'm saying? And, just like I asked you, why did you ever switch up on Bud to begin with? Why did you switch up? He's still undefeated. Why did you switch up and all of a sudden you want to be an advocate, a presenter? You want to be someone that holds a position to move the needle, a needle that couldn't be moved by PBC. You are one of these voices out here trying to convince the people that you had something to do with it. Nigga, please, prove it. 3 separate fights, 2 of which on the same card. Shit didn't work. Make it make sense. That's all I'm saying. Make it make sense, man. He capping on. All right, man. We need to see some evidence, man. Okay, I'll say, how blew a business partner? They can hit him off with the new front door. Hey, we trying to see how deep he is in business. I want to see, bro. I want to see. Good question. Haven't heard anything about Norman Jr. for a while. Has he even fought this year? Can't remember. His last fight was in 2021. This is what I'm talking about. His last fight was in 2021, y'all. His last fight was December, I think, 2021. Is at the Buckhead Fight Club. He got a first round stoppage. But when this news broke, oh man, they wanted to come to the A, shawty. They wanted to come up here and pick up a fighter that has a big name down here. They wanted to put him out there. Oh man, I look far and wide and around the globe for who I wanted to represent. And I found Brian Norman Jr., the Assassin 2.0. And I'm saying to myself, cool, let's see this. But his dad will tell you. His pops will tell you. I said, I don't know. We spoke on the phone. If anybody would talk that talk, his pops would talk that talk. Tell them conversation that we had. You know what I'm saying? That man got shit to do. But when it comes down, I have him on the show. We chop this shit up, man. But I don't want to intervene in their professionalism and whatever they got going on. I don't want to do that. It have to be absolutely okay. Bruce Gaz, boxing, jazz, and more. What's good, Bruce? How you doing, OG? How you feeling, bro? So if Blue and talks with Bud, why Bud say he ain't you from Texas? So if Blue and talks with Bud, why Bud say, hey, ain't you from Texas? Hey man, you cannot hear one side of the story, especially coming from him, man. But my people, I'm gonna come back on a little bit later and talk about this fake news. I want to try to talk to some other people about this situation. I waiting on a phone call. Believe me, I'm going to get you some information on this shit about this damn situation that's going on with BLK. I'm going to get some more information. Real talk. Drop back in, tune back in, man. Link up with me later. It's Friday. Link up with me later, and we're gonna continue this. But I gotta handle some business. All right. Salute. Appreciate y'all for pulling up, turn up, and tune in. Captain Chaos with the $2 super chat on your boy. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate you. So Bud said, show me the money, and Blue did. Fuck out of here, lie. You know what I'm saying? Come on, bro. Come on. It wasn't no, what's that is? Show me the money with Tom Cruise and all that shit. Hey, y'all hold it down.